This poor thing has been sitting in storage for over a year now. With the exception, of course, I might have pulled it out at one point briefly just to get something out behind it or whatever. So, but otherwise, I am thinking I'm going to have to probably take this apart. Probably take the vacuum underneath, clean it out. The other, I guess, mission on the agenda today, or whenever I end up getting to it, if you've watched the previous videos on this machine with it apart, then you would have seen that there is oil that's been slung around the bottom of the machine from the transmission. So that indicates that there's probably a seal or somewhere that maybe it needs a new gasket between the two housings, and I have the stuff for that somewhere. I don't know where it is offhand, but I'll have to look for it. The RTV silicone gasket maker stuff, which you can buy pretty near anywhere, probably Walmart or whatever hardware store, or auto parts store probably as well, because that's mainly an automotive product. But yeah, who do we have here? We have a special cat meow appearance today, it looks. So anyway, but yeah, that'll be today's project, is to take this apart. Just kind of, I'm not expecting too much from it other than just vacuum it out. Probably give it a wipe down too if it needs it. Get rid of the webs and other habitation that's probably, I'm sure, is accumulated in here from it sitting. And then we'll test it out on cycle, see how it's holding up. Make sure all the seals are good and whatnot, and go from there. Okay, so here we are, the cabinet off, and overall, it's not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be. The worst is just like, I don't know if the camera even will really pick it up, but there's just like a few cobwebs you can kind of see right there that just need to be wiped away or blown out or vacuumed or whatever. I got it plugged in. I'm gonna go ahead and test it. And it is low speed. Agitating, okay. Motor is running. Pump doesn't seem to be jammed up or anything like that from frozen water. How about spin? I'm curious because I remember from testing this machine, the neutral drain seemed to work right away, even after with it sitting for a while. So I'm curious to see how that is holding up now. I don't know. It's sat for, I haven't ran it for over a year now at this point, so we'll see how it holds up. This is literally the first time I've ran it, and wow. I'm not entirely sure I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's, and it disengaged or engaged the spin. Brake still works. Everything still works. Well, we may have a problem, unfortunately. As you can see, I had to pull the hoses off. And I'm getting ready to pull the motor off the transmission. It's going to be probably difficult to see, but yeah, I can't really get the camera to see it, but I can see what appears to be a lot of rust on that motor shaft behind the pump there. So and it's not, the pump is not wanting to come off with hardly any ease at all. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to pull the motor off and try and see if I can't break the pump loose without damaging it. Which I wouldn't count on it. I'm not entirely confident on that hope, but we'll see. I guess this was actually before they started putting the 5/16 bracket bolts in the motors to hold them on. Because yeah, I never even realized that it was that way on this one. But there's no screws on those brackets holding the motor on, so interesting. So we're probably going to need a new pump. Yep, gonna need a new pump. Ah, darn. I tried squirting some WD-40 behind there to try and loosen it up, to no avail. Gonna need a new pump. And gonna need a new motor coupler. Wow. Let's zoom out here. I'll show you real quick. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised this thing is still running with this. In the state it is. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised this coupler hasn't completely failed yet. It will. It will pretty soon. That's for sure. But dang, it's amazing though. It's actually still running. Somewhat. But it's literally hanging on by a thread. So, I mean, the actual coupler pieces appear to be in. I can't turn the shaft on this because the pump's rusted on there again. So, but the coupler fingers, I think, seem to be okay. You know, and that turns freely or whatever. Great, but you know, one of these days it's not gonna. He's right there. Squish. So a little bubble of gut juice come out. So yeah, that piece, I'm not putting that back in there. That's for darn sure. No sense in really, you know, even though these pieces are fine, you know, by that logic, it's the same thing with like what I did to the 92 machine when I should have changed out the whole entire kit that came with it. But instead I saved the spin gear, and you know, realize now that it's actually worse now than it was before. So I'm gonna have to dig back into that one of these days. Sad. I'm probably gonna have to cut the pump off of the motor shaft somehow. which I'd really rather try and save it just as a novelty piece, even though I can't really do much with it to use it. Because you can't get this style of pump today. I mean, it's the same part they make, but it's built a little bit differently, and it's white. It's a white plastic, and I think it's a little bit softer of a plastic maybe than the older ones were. I mean, I could be wrong on that because I never actually really compared, one of the two together. But a new pump should give it a few more years of service, as well as a new coupler. Well, it had to happen, unfortunately. I had to do this the appliance man way by cutting out the front of the pump and breaking loose the impeller, which I actually ended up having to cut some of that out as well, as you can sort of tell. And it eventually finally came off, broke loose, and it left this nylon, or this impeller shaft piece hanging on the motor, and that was rusted to heck. So I had to, it was stuck on there really well anyways, so I had to kind of persuade it, and I had to use a small little pick tool with a hammer to kind of break it off, and that finally freed it from the motor shaft. And upon closer inspection of the motor shaft, it looks okay, so which is good. Means we hopefully didn't damage it a ton upon taking that out. I will have to clean that out though, because I think some debris got in there, and I'll have to blow it out and whatnot. So such is. Did not want to have to do that. Was hoping to be able to pull it off and kind of save it as one whole piece, just for the novelty of it. But yeah, I ended up having to take the old cutoff wheel to it. So sucks, but it's what you come upon sometimes. So I'm in the process of pulling the clutch, and as you can see, so this is a 6-pad clutch, so it's one of the older clutches. And what I find interesting about this one is that it has it's the square vent holes on the bottom or whatever, but there's 8 of them. Rather than 6 like on the newer ones. Just lift right up, and yeah, that's gonna need cleaning of all the oil. I'm probably gonna take that band lining out of the drum and clean inside of there. And one thing I've noticed too is it doesn't look like this clutch has the plastic retainer piece on the bottom, which it works without it, I guess, anyhow. So it's just an extra thing, I guess, in this case. So whatever. Anyway, yeah. So, and all grime, and I'm actually wondering if part of that is the rubber from that coupler. Because it is, like as I was handling it, it was disintegrating slowly, so it probably was doing that over time from usage. Next step then is to pull the cover and see how much we've lost in regards to oil. So, and that'll be in the next video.